Don't interrupt me. Why should we give it to you?
Because you have no choice.
How's that?
Again, the wrong question.
I know. Why?
The way I see it, the key is already mine. I just want to finish our game.
Nobody says you could leave the table, kid. Sit back down and take your turn. Next.
Measures of it.
Goodbye.
Now go!
What does bounce mean?
Where? Ballsiness. Ballsiness.
You shouldn't have to write this.
What was I meant to do then? Leave?
No, Kiri hesitates a second, then grabs a go and takes over Nick.
Oh, we're going on to the next one.
You can go for as long as you want. You can just do like a section that you feels comfortable
Kid
in. Just
hesitates,
redoing
grabs
it.
a gun, you got to go at
Yeah,
me.
you've got to say no go. Oh, you've said no go.
We probably should have.
Hesitate.
It's fine, we can do it as many times as we need to. It's only perfect.
Now go.
Grabs the gun. Pulls the trigger.
You've got to say wrong choice.
No, he clicks.
Clicks.
Oh, I didn't.
Because there's no bullet. It's the wrong change.
Oh, I pull a knife from my pocket.
Wrong choice.
You got to leave you violently from your chair now. Please tumble over the chair.
Violently from that chair.
Okay, I've got to tumble over the chair.
Now I'm on the
This is going
I'm just like,
Where's she got
I can't wait to
shotgun
watch
from?
this back.
I've got a fucking knife.
Stab me. Stab me. Frank, smile. She just stabbed me. It's playing out exactly like you wanted. Liz, hold your shotgun tightly.
I've got it.
Good.
Page drop to the floor.
Oh, my
When Nick rises, bloody, spent, smooth in his hair.
Where are we? I'm lost. Just before Frank.
After a shotgun.
When Nick rises, bloody spent, smooth in his hair, Liz walks
Oh,
through the
yeah.
golden kids.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
over him and spits.
Is it?
Ooh, that's it.
And then you got Nick. That was
all very.
Jimmy.
That was all very entertaining. Thank you for that. That was your mate, and your team's still 2 bullets behind.
oh fuck. Or you can give me.
I'm reading. Or you can give me that key hanging on your neck and we'll call it a draw.
Well, Liz is jolted by this proposal. Doesn't like it one bit. Nick counters the proposal, then slowly gives up the key. He sheepishly escapes through the door.
Sheepishly.
Like the
What's
door.
it?
I'm
2
dyslexic.
fingers. Second one is a bullet, or 2 empty chambers.
Furious.
You're gonna let him. Hang on, I gotta make that bigger. You're gonna let that queer bastard walk? That's not what we agreed to.
Liz jams the remainder of the half-drunk company.
Blood all over his hands, he won't get far. We've got bigger problems.
Oh yeah, like what?
Demons want that.
That's not funny.
Frank stands up and goes directly to the floor.
You made all this happen, you know. He was a harmless lad before he started hanging out with you.
Who are you talking to, Frank?
Frank points the gun at you.
Sure, you know.
Okay.
Who wants 8 cups?
Don't interrupt me. But why should we give it to you?
Because you have no choice.
You have to go, and then we'll finish you.
Because you have no choice.
How's that?
Again, the wrong question.
I know. Why? Why?
The way I see it, the key is already mine. I just want to finish our game.
Nobody said you could move, kid. Sit down. Take your turn.
Planet of the Apes.
It's like Captain Caveman.
I've already done it. I should run.
Stop that part then. Stop
No,
it.
you measured me up.
Oh fuck! I'm on bad.
Oh, we start again.
Let me just read it. Just like that.
Right.
Stand up.
All in
elbow,
the back, stand
nobody
up.
said.
And then I go to run.
So, nobody said you could leave the table, kid, sit down and take your turn.
Yeah, you measure her up, see if she's serious, then sit down.
Call and cut.
Backstabbing cunt.
Who am I calling a wanker? 'Cause I'm really confused.
Anyone.
I think, do you call him a wanker as he's sitting down?
But then who am I saying goodbye to?
Nick is emboldened by the realisation the kid is probably going to die. For years, he's goodbye.
I think you're calling
I
Ash a
Oh, you
wanker.
say to me like goodbye, wanker, because like everyone's gonna kill me now.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a great move. You're gonna.
Goodbye.
Oh, I'm furious.
Now go. Wrong choice.
Stop me!
Stab me! Stab me harder now.
Stop me! Stop me!
We're actors. Well, that was all very entertaining, so thank you for that. But as far as I can see, your team still shuts down. Or you can give me that key and hang around your neck and call it a draw. What does two fingers mean? Two left shots, two in the chamber?
And you're gonna let that queer bastard go?
Ah, there's blood all over his hands, he won't get far. Besides, we've got a bigger problem.
Like what?
Invisible man.
It's not funny.
You made all this happen, you know?
Who are you talking to, Frank?
He was a harmless lad before he started hanging out with you. It's your turn now.
Okay, so how did you guys feel about acting with a 360 camera?
I found it fun, but at some points when like I was lying on the floor at one point and I thought, can the camera see me? And you kind of forget that the camera can see everywhere. So I was lying there and I was like, oh yeah, they can see me.
Yeah, I was very conscious of like empty spaces. And just everything.
Filling in gaps.
Yeah.
Because you compare it to theatre, how you've all got to remain active when you're on stage.
Mm.
Then it's still such a small area space. So it's just one side, an audience is like the fourth wall, so to speak.
Yeah.
But then it's literally everything you can see is the performance space. Like everywhere around you, it's not just one direction.
Yeah.
So you've always got to be aware of what you're doing and stay in character.
So would you say that when you were performing with the 360 camera, you were using your skills for acting for screen as well as acting for theatre? You're using both skills.
I'd say more towards theatre.
I'd say
More towards theatre?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Because like for film, a camera's right in front of you, and you know that if you're behind the cameraman and the camera's not pointing at you, that you're not being seen. Whereas on stage, you're being seen if you wherever you are on stage.
Mhm.
It's more like acting for theatre in the round
Oh, yeah, okay.
rather than acting for theatre in proscenium arch, where there is a set audience space.
Mm.
But then at the same time, like if you go to the theatre, I could be focusing. I tend to do this. I do look at like back people rather than the people in the front. So like you're being seen wherever you are on the stage, really. Whereas like in film, you're right in front of the camera, or you're not. But then 360, it's like you're always seen wherever you are, even if you're on the floor or on the chair or on the cameras on top of your head. Like someone could just look down on you there.
Nice. So when you first performed the script, The Invisible Man, it was written for like a 360 camera. Compared to the first time you performed it, and then you watched it, then you performed it a second time, was there any differences? Did you feel that the way that they did it on camera was done effectively? Like, what did you guys feel?
I guess after we saw the one on YouTube, we sort of used it as like a template.
Yeah.
Because the first time, I initially thought it was a bunch of kids, like role playing, like just with a gun and stuff. But
Just kids with a gun.
yeah. But like, we sort of just put it in the middle and then worked around it. But there was no setting. So after we saw what they had done, we sort of right, let's try and replicate but not duplicate the
Yeah.
setting.
So like we used all of the negatives for that one and turned them into positives
Yeah.
as well.
I feel like it was easier to, sorry.
No, sorry.
I feel like it was easier at first before we watched it because we found it easy because we knew that there was a 360 camera. We found it easy to act around it. But then when we saw that they only used half the camera, like 180 instead of 360, when we got into position where there was gaps, we were sort of like, oh no, we need to fill them gaps. So we're trying to do what they didn't do and try and fill their gaps. But at first, not knowing that they'd done that, it was easier to just all stand. We instantly just all stood around the camera when we first started. But yeah, it was good to experiment with the camera not in the middle, sort of to the side, and then using that space in throughout the performance instead of starting with the camera in the middle.
I'm just so used to like putting a camera in the far corner and then working within that.
Yeah.
But then as a 360, we initially put it in the middle, and I found that was like really, we were going to do that anyway. Then putting it over there was a challenge, but it was a good challenge because then it made us move around a bit more in the performance rather than just standing around in a circle.
Do you feel like for the scene the camera worked best where it was the second time, when you pushed it out a bit rather than actually in the middle?
I feel like the script made sense a bit more.
The script made sense more,
Yes, because it was the Invisible Man and the camera was the Invisible Man, so it worked a bit more.
Yeah, and I think because we did go behind the camera at certain points, but not all the time.
Yeah.
It did kind of like make you question whether the camera was a character or wasn't a character, whether they were there, whether they weren't there, until the very end lines or couple of lines.
And it was easier to for the camera to be a person because it's hard not to acknowledge the camera when it's in the middle. Like at first, in the first performance, I kept looking at the camera and then I was like, oh wait, don't look at the camera. But then the second time around, it didn't matter because it was actually a person. So it was easier, like in that sense. So.
What do you think the future is for kind of 360 film? So do you think it'll work for all genres? Do you think it'll just work for a few genres?
I think, I don't know, because it started like 2014 when it started to go up. But I remember I went on a school trip when I was like in year 7, and there was like this memorial thing for World War II, and there was it was a huge dome, and it was a complete 360 screen, and it was what it'd be like to be in the trenches. And that was in like 2009, 2008. I think it could only, like the VR could only really work with stuff that would make you feel immersed. So things like horror, potentially thriller.
I don't think it would work with like romantic comedy.
Oh no, not a chance.
No, like musical theatre it wouldn't work.
Musical theatre,
I don't. If it's in a sense of you're a character, the camera suddenly starts fucking shaking around because they're dancing.
Yeah, but then I've seen like loads of like on stage VR, like where they put it in the Lion King stage and things like that. And it's good because you can look around and things like that. But like for a simple storyline,
film,
I'd
the putting it on
just say
stage
horror.
works.
Yeah.
Sure, like, that's amazing. But it's like a musical theatre as a film in virtual reality. I don't think it would work.
So it's like horror and war films. So I'd say like
I think
like
you
Dunkirk
could
or
possibly use it
Scream.
for like documentary style filmmaking as well.
Yeah,
like
say like
on location sort
all
of.
of Brady's The Love of Dogs, and you look around and there's just all dogs running.
I was thinking more like Frozen Planet.
Yeah.
With penguins.
Yeah, that's a really good idea actually.